If you're going to be driving I-70 through Colorado, you absolutely want to stop at the Colorado National Monument. It's really not that much out of your way, and it's a quick and easy place where you can definitely stop and see some amazing sights. This video will walk you through RV access, seeing some of the sights, and camping options for the park. This is a map of Colorado. You can see Denver's right here. I-25 goes from north to south, and I-70 is east to west. So if you're heading out here into the general Grand Junction area, this is where you're going to find Colorado National Monument. And it actually, you can enter from Fruita, and I'll show you a more detailed map of this, or you could come in over here through Grand Junction, and both ways will get you here because it's just a loop that goes up to the monument and then back down. Let's zoom into that. So we have not ever taken the route from Grand Junction, but it looks like you take this Monument Road, and it says on the website it's about 19 miles in from Grand Junction, that you take that until you get to the Visitor Center that's on the Grand Junction side entrance for Colorado National Monument. You also want to know that there is a tunnel on this entrance, just like there's two tunnels on the other side. The tunnels are all the same on height. We're going to talk more about the tunnels in a second. This is a close-up of the same map, just zoomed in on the north side. So you can see the town of Fruita is the exit that you take. It's Highway 340, and that will take you into this north entrance that's closer to Fruita. And apparently you take that for about 3 miles into where the sign is at. And then once you enter past the sign, then you have a 4-mile drive up until you get to where the Visitor Center is. And you will pass the two tunnels as you are doing that. Shortly after the sign, you'll start weaving your way up the road, and you are going up in elevation up to the top of this mesa, and you will approach the first tunnel. So these tunnels at the edge, within 2 feet of the edge, you're talking about 11-foot 5-inch height clearance. And at the very center, if you were to drive right in the center, it's at 16 feet at the peak. So if you feel comfortable that you can get to 11 foot 5 inches, at least on the edges, then I think you're okay. But for us, having a 13 foot 6 inch clearance, we just did not feel comfortable trying to stay in the center on top of the yellow line, which really wouldn't be legal. Plus, I'm not quite sure our edges would have made it. So for a big rig, this is really not a drivable pass for you. There is a campground in here, so if you have a smaller rig, you have a smaller height clearance, as soon as you get past these tunnels, there's a campground, and I can talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But for your big rigs, you need to park them and take your tow vehicle. Our next stop was the Visitor Center. Some of this footage is from 2019, some is from 2020. The Visitor Center was not open during the pandemic. I don't think it still is, but we'll show you the inside of this from when we saw it in 2019. The Visitor Center will let you learn about the animals and the mining in the area.
All the way over to where it's at.
Kids can also pick up their Junior Ranger packets while you're here. We then walked behind the Visitor Center to catch the Canyon Rim Trail, and you can catch this in a few places. You can also catch it down by where the campground's at. I should mention real quickly too that campground is for RVs. Of course, you have to be able to get in here. It's a 40-foot max length, so it actually can take a pretty big RV in terms of the length, but you have to be able to have the height or the lower height to get under the tunnels. But this is the Canyon Rim Trail. You can see there's a couple steps. There's some paved area that you can walk down and at least go to the overlook. So it's not very far to hike right here where the overlook's at. And then you can see the girls are starting off on hiking on the actual trail. We'll do the trail in just a second. That's just going to be kind of patted down dirt along the edge of the canyon. But you can also just go check out the overlook. If you only maybe have a half hour to an hour to come up and explore the park, I would at least recommend stopping at the Visitor Center if it's open, talking with the ranger. You can learn a lot there, and then you can come here to the overlook and really get a feel for this canyon, which is pretty spectacular. So very cool to see from here. Don't let your kids run wild though and run ahead of you. We're actually yelling at Greta right here to stay with us because it is just a sharp drop off. You can see here right on the edge how far you are from the base of the canyon. And there's a little sheep or something down there. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but that's what we're looking at right here, and checking out the overlook area and working on the girls' Junior Ranger packets at this point in time. So you could take the Canyon Rim Trail for quite a while. You can take it all the way out for I think a mile and you get to Window Rock. We didn't go quite that far. So you can see us just walking on the dirt trail here. It's plenty safe as long as you're staying on the trail. You don't want the kids to go up to the edge because it is just a straight shot down. We took some time to learn about the different trees and kind of try to tell the difference between the trees. It's one of the things that's part of the Junior Ranger packet. So it's nice that those packets have the information and you can learn about some of the vegetation and geology and everything while you're there. You can see Balanced Rock here off in the distance. This is really what they use on their maps and stuff as one of the pictures for Colorado National Monument. So it's a cool place to stop and get a photo op, and that's what we did here. The girls are balancing in their picture. From here, we headed back with the girls' completed Junior Ranger packets, and they were able to swear in as Junior Rangers. On our most recent trip here to the monument, the visitor center was closed because of COVID, and so we just did the scenic drive and kept driving past the visitor center and continued up. As you go along, there's going to be different pull-outs and places where you can stop with your vehicle. Not necessarily great RV parking, but for your vehicle, there's definitely parking, pull-in parking that you can back out of. Interpretive signs, guardrails on a lot of the places where it's kind of safe to do a view and look over the edge with your kids. Plenty of ways to get other shots too that aren't quite so safe, so just be wary of that. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this road just makes a big loop, and so it'll come out at Monument Road in Grand Junction. So you could continue just taking the road all the way through and end up coming out at Grand Junction. We were staying in Fruita, so it made sense to head back the same way that we came in. And that's what we're doing right here, is kind of working and winding our way back down the mesa and back into the flatter space over where Fruita's at. And a couple of notes, Fruita is a really nice town. Grand Junction's a really nice town too. You're definitely going to be able to find a number of RV parks where you can stay. For sure in Grand Junction, Fruita maybe only has a couple, but there's plenty of restaurants. There's other things to do. Some of the stuff that we liked right on this exit where it's Highway 340 from Fruita as you're heading into Colorado National Monument is the Colorado Welcome Center is here, and you can stop here. There's also a really nice Vietnam War memorial that is here to check out. There is also like an indoor dinosaur park museum land kind of place. We always say that we're going to stop at that place and we never do. So I don't know, maybe this next month when we're driving through here again, we'll finally take the girls to the dinosaur journey place. And then Monument RV Park is right in this area too, and that's where we've stayed before. We like it there. It's a nice RV park. You have your hookups and you have nice, quick, easy access to Colorado National Monument. Here's a view at the Vietnam War Memorial that's here in Fruita. And then here's the only picture I happen to have of Monument RV Park. This was before I used to do reviews, so I don't have much to show you from there. But thank you so much for watching this. I hope this was useful for your planning on Colorado National Monument, and you can find a way to just find an hour or two and build this into your trip, especially if you're traveling along I-70 already through Colorado. It won't disappoint. You'll be glad that you stopped here. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end and you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe for more content about visiting the national parks and other locations with your RV and kids. Thanks so much for watching.